What's going on, guys? Apathetic here with all your tips, recommendations, and everything in between. And today we're going to cover how to improve your hand cannon aim. This video will include not only my personal tips that have helped me, but also links to other creators that have helped me improve my aim along the way. Let's get into it. So you want to improve your hand cannon aim or just your aim in general. Before we can jump into some of the in-game stuff, we need to discuss the different input methods in Destiny and the importance of your grip. Figuring out your grip is a balance between comfort and performance. Some grips may be super comfortable for you, but maybe it doesn't allow you to aim your best. Ultimately, grip is a huge factor in how well you aim, and making sure your input method is optimized for your grip of choice is key in ensuring you have the tools to always aim your best. Now, when it comes to grip, there is going to be more variance on PC than console, but the idea still applies. For console players, there isn't a ton of variance in grips, but more of how the controller sits in your hand and how you sit and the micro adjustments you make in each of those aspects. For me, when playing on console, I had to have my hands at a certain height when holding the controller, or my aim would feel way off. Making sure you're paying attention to those subtle changes and observing how it impacts your aim can help you hone in on what posture and grip works best for you. For PC, things can get a little more in depth. There's a ton of mouses to choose from with different weights and shapes, but before you can get into all that, you need to figure out what mouse grip allows you to aim your best. The three common grips are palm grip, claw grip, and fingertip grip. There are also hybrids of these grips as well, but the type of grip you prefer will influence the mouse you will want to purchase. Some mice are good for claw grip, depending on your hand size, and others are better for fingertip. Making sure you are taking the time to research what mouse grip you find most comfortable and the mouse that pairs best with your grip style and hand size. A good resource for this is Rocketjumpninja. In my opinion, he is the most thorough mouse reviewer and also has a website that lists some of the top mice based on their sizes and what grips they work the best with. For me, I use a claw grip, and I've settled in right now on the Razer Viper Ultimate. Found it really works well with the type of grip I use and has substantially helped me improve my aim. Moving on to the in-game tips, and it's figuring out your sensitivity. Now, this sounds basic, but it can be one of the most difficult things to figure out. The reason that is because how often people tinker with their sensitivity. They change it so frequently, they give their muscle memory literally no time to adapt, and by the time you even start getting used to it, they are changing it again. And people make this decision to change their sensitivity after one bad game on this new sensitivity. You need to be patient and give yourself time to adapt. Now, what helped me figure out my sensitivity on console was adjusting my sensitivity based on how easily I could track enemies, and it really was as simple as that for me. If I felt I was over aiming too frequently or in those high pressure situations, I would choke or feel my shot got too shaky, I would lower it, which allowed me to settle on 4 for my sensitivity on console. For PC, it's not quite as simple because you can adjust your aim so much quicker and literally turn yourself around in a split second. So what I did was find a sensitivity that allowed me to do a full 360 within a reasonable extension of my arm on my mouse pad and didn't take me off the edge of my mouse pad. You're also adjusting two input methods. You have your DPI, which stands for dots per inch. So a higher DPI will make your mouse more sensitive to your movement. And then you combine that with your in-game sensitivity. So typically people who have a lower DPI will have a higher in-game sense and vice versa. For me, I run a 400 DPI and a sensitivity of 7. I prefer this lower lower DPI because it allowed me to be a lot more accurate, but also maintain the ability to quickly 360 or vertically adjust for those hunters that just love to jump a million miles in the air. Now, a great resource for improving your aim on PC, and specifically when it comes to the settings around your sensitivity in-game and your DPI, is Rambo Kim, which I'll link him below. He has some great videos that helped me land on my settings I use today and improved my overall aim on PC. For our next tip, this is going to revolve around your tool of choice, or in this case, the hand cannon you choose to use. The reason this is important is because not all hand cannons are created equal. Some hand cannons recoil as straight up, some bounce up and to the right, some have less aim assist than others. This is a big reason of why hand cannons like the spare rations are so popular. It's not only the combination of perks it can roll, but it also has incredibly high aim assist, which is going to make your aim feel more sticky and make it feel like you're hitting crits, maybe it seemed like you're aiming perfectly at someone's head. So whether you're using spare rations or thorn, making sure you're taking the time to get a feel for the weapon you're using so you can give your muscle memory time to adjust to a particular recoil, or the amount or lack of aim assist on a weapon is key, especially if you're playing with your sensitivity during this time. As you're messing with your sensitivity, you want to make sure you're using the same weapon so you're not adding another variation to your sensitivity as you're trying to adjust that muscle memory. For our fourth tip, and this ties in nicely with your tool of choice, and that's going to be have an Icarus mod on all your hand cannons. Destiny 2 is unique in that it's not just played on the ground. There's a ton of vertical and quick movement, which means you can spend a decent amount of time in the air depending on how you play. The thing that is counterintuitive to that is weapons outside of Luna's Hound Not Forgotten have terrible in-air accuracy, and if you're jumping and shooting, you'll notice it's much more difficult to land your shots. This can be especially frustrating when, depending on the situation, you are jumping instinctively and shooting at the same time to see you aren't landing as many shots. Having an Icarus mod on your hand cannon makes a world of difference because you can rely on your hand cannon to feel consistent no matter whether your boots are on the ground or you're jumping through the air. This is great for any class in the game because a lot of movement is based around skating, which is basically a bunch of mini jumps, and having this mod allows you to maintain strong aim assist while moving around the map, or if you're a hunter and you're flying 1,000 feet in the air. Tip 5 and our last tip is all about how your strafe affects your aim. In games like Call of Duty or Counter-Strike, there isn't much strafe play involved because the time to kill is so low. In Destiny, the time to kill is a little higher, which means you have time to strafe back and forth to make your enemy miss. This is key in Destiny because of the presence of flinch and the fact that as you take more shots, it can negatively impact your aim. The other part of using your strafe is you almost want to use your strafe to help you aim, so that you only need to make micro adjustments with your right thumbstick or mouse. Your strafe will help you get that rhythm you feel when you're perfectly matching and tracking your opponent in a gunfight. Now, to improve your strafe, it's nothing too crazy. You just need to practice moving side to side, but within a short distance. When people try to have a longer strafe, it makes them way too predictable because you're strafing in one direction for too long. Now, another wrinkle you can add to this is adding a crouch into your strafe. Now, no, I'm not talking about crouch shooting where you're just continuously crouching, but a single random crouch in your strafe, only attempt to make sure you help your enemy miss one of their shots. Now, this is something I would use sparingly, and it's something my buddy BravexHero has a great video on demonstrating how to implement this and the impact it can have, so make sure you go check him out. With that, guys, thanks so much for watching, and if you found this video helpful, make sure you like, share, and subscribe as it's a free way to support me, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.
Minutes remain.